Occasionally, an event occurs of such significance that it forever changes the way you perceive life itself, as though a veil has been lifted and the clarity and purpose of your life become obvious. In November of 1993, such an event occurred for my family and I. I was one of the Native American children adopted at birth and removed from the reservation system. As fate would have it, I was raised by a wonderful family and grew up in southwest Minnesota. I lost both adoptive parents in 1987. It was then that my wife, Kathy, discovered my adoption papers that had been hidden for years. On Thanksgiving Day, 1993, I was reunited with my biological Lakota family. Neither of us had known the other had existed all those years. So began our incredible journey back into Native America. This is our story. This week on Hidden Heritage, we're going to travel to Mission, South Dakota, on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation. We're going to have a look at Sinte Gliska Tribal University and visit with some of the folks that operate the school system there. We're going to learn about the successes and the trials and tribulations of tribal education in the United States today. Sinte Gliska University is a 4-year private American Indian tribal college. It is located on the Rosebud Indian Reservation of South Dakota. Sinte Gliska University was founded in 1970 and named for the Brule Lakota chief Sinte Gliska, or Spotted Tail. The college is a member of the American Indian Higher Education Consortium. The school began as a 2-year college, but since 1973 has expanded to a 4-year institution under the leadership of Dr. Lionel Bordeaux.
Lionel Bordeaux, Emachiap. Sinte Gliska wonspe wakatia oaya okilel wanietu ota imadchacha. Oaya wan washtecha lil onyuhap. Honey we chashawa itchachawa Sinte Gliska echiapcha wonspe gilepatita. Wakoya naha washicha nupia wonspe. Onyuhokte iechaloe. Togata kia wichoi chago ukile na isha hena. Ilagi abna hena. Yogpia zania da funktianwe. My name is Lionel Bordeaux. I've been a long-time president at Sinte Gliska University. Tomorrow I start my 40th year as president here. We have a very wonderful institution of higher learning, one of 37 tribal colleges and universities in the country, serving over 40,000 students. This institution is named after Chief Spotted Tail, who brought our ancestry here and saw the vision, the prophecy, and the need for future preparedness to walk in two worlds, to always keep the Lakota tradition, language, ceremonies, spirituality, the prayers, our sacred sites, that these will be the foundation of the social life, the economic life of our people. And through his advocacy, he promoted the Western thought and philosophy and talked about an institution that would promote both cultures.
Accreditation is the process of validation in which colleges, universities, and other institutions of higher learning are evaluated. The standards for accreditation are set by a peer review board whose members include faculty from various accredited colleges and universities. In order for potential colleges to proceed with the accreditation process smoothly, they must meet the general standards set by the peer review accreditation boards.
Both took 6 years for us to obtain. We had a very difficult time with the legislation because, frankly, a lot of the powers that be in Washington doubted our ability to run an institution of higher learning. Navajo had just started their Dene College, and they secured legislation. But for the Lakota tribes up in this country up here, we had to struggle to get support. We were told it was honorable to start a tribal college to strengthen our tribal nation. But that more realistically, we probably should stick with the arts and crafts, because we were good with our hands. And if we really wanted to do anything meaningful for our tribal nations, we should flood our homelands with chicken coops and hog pens. That was our future. Standing there 32 years old, being given an orientation and a blessing by about a dozen of our medicine men who told us about the need for the type of leadership that this institution was going to require. And that through prayer and ceremony and through ancestral guidance and direction. It was very difficult to be involved in that Washington scene, but armed with local support, we went forward. And year after year, we kept getting set back. But finally, 6 years later, in 1978, President Jimmy Carter signed the Tribally Controlled Community College Assistance Act. Then Congress recognized tribal colleges.
Amitakepi, Athokahe Yuha, Santoastana Petchus up. Ale Woyu Amoko Pitcher. And I took Kilowaki, I chablupticked. Don't kill my Wexia. When Washicha Michaziki, Albert Whitehead Sr. in much. On the Lakotaje Mitraki, Wapha Ska. It's my Indian name. I came here in 1983, full-time. Prior to that, I was quite involved in development of the college as a consultant, as an interpreter, translator, part-time teacher. And in 1983, I became full-time employee here at Lakota Studies. And about 3 years ago or so, because of health reasons, I retired. After about 25 years, I retired, and they asked me to come back and teach some courses. So I'm teaching one course that Medicine Man Associates started. And when they started that course, I was their translator every semester, and they're all gone. And the university wanted me to keep teaching that course. When we first started the university, there was a little feeling around, you know. We had about 135 students, all volunteer teachers, and the age group of the students was like 35 to maybe 60 years old. And so it was a very small beginning. And we all offered the regular courses for AA degree. And during the course of it, some individuals who came from outside were very fortunate to draw really good professors who come to our institution to help us out. And a couple of them were really interested in our culture, in our spiritual. And at that time, practically 100% of our people were scared to death of it. And, you know, from the boarding school results, they were really scared of our ceremonies. Nobody wants to speak the language. They're embarrassed to be acknowledged as an Indian, and it was really bad in those days. So when these young men, these young teachers brought that in, we try to work with people out there. But prior to that, about 1968, I found the medicine men underground. They were practicing secretly. So I knew who they were, and I was surprised that most of them were relatives. I didn't know they'd been doing it, But that's how well they kept it underground, So when we started, we went to them. And the reason we did that was, I think it was 1967. The vice president of the tribe, his name was Adam Bordeaux. Him and I went to many farms, Arizona. They started a 2-year college. And they're doing some things at their schools that they want us to check it out. So we went down there and we spent a week at many farms. And we were really surprised because they had a gathering, assembly. Here come one medicine man. He spoke in his language, in the school. And he did a ceremony in his language. And we couldn't believe that, because that's a no-no around here. You can't even do that around here. So when we came back, we told them that. We told the people that. And they talked about it, and these two professors, one of them brought in a song and dance group, classes. Another one brought in another subject. And they're both quite involved in trying to bring the ceremonies back, bringing in medicine men as lecturers, and they asked me to interpret. And that's how the Lakota studies kind of slowly developed. But it really started from the Human Services Department. That's where it started from.
Hamitakiapi chantewashteanape chuzapi Gabrielle Penkeshka Maza Imachiapi Ksto. Hello, my friends and relatives. My name is Gabrielle Iron Shell. I wasn't born and raised in this area. I was born and raised in Baltimore City, Maryland, and I grew up there up until I was 13. So I didn't grow up around the culture of the language. So when I was 13, this was all very new to me. And so I made it my point to learn the language, learn the culture, and learn how to teach it for future generations that might not have had the upbringing like I have. It's a really good experience, especially the way they integrate the culture with the learning process. I think is very unique, especially for a university. I am hoping to graduate next summer in August 2013. I am currently going for 4 bachelor degrees and 1 AA, all in Lakota studies. So I plan on becoming a Lakota studies or Lakota language teacher. So I've been busy the past couple years. One of the differences that I've noticed is, like I said before, the cultural aspect. Here, I guess you could say they're very into their culture because everything we do, they do like a ceremony, even if it's just a smudge or whatever. So to me, that's how it differences from other universities. Some of my favorite instructors, though, I'd have to say is Francis Cutt, Dwayne Hollowhorn-Bear, and Albert Whitehat. They're very, very good orators, and just their classes are interesting. Like, it's not all set bookwork and stuff. There's a lot of teachings and storytelling and stuff to make it really interesting. So being a Lakota Studies major, I think I've learned a lot more than I probably would have ever learned getting into any other degree program here. Because it's not just like the bookwork you learn, you also learn the cultural aspect. That's how I became like more involved with the college, is being there for all these years. And will be my last weekend as Sinte Gliska University Wea. Like I said before, I've been reigning for 2 years, and I am hostess this weekend until the new princess is crowned, and I am also the head women's judge for the first time. To me, it's representing where you come from. Like, I come from Sinte Gliska University. So when I go around to powwows and different functions, I represent, like, I don't know, like when you have like the crown and stuff, you tend to hold yourself higher than you normally would, you know, because they're all looking at you as the representative coming from where you come from. So to me, that's what a princess means. And it's not always just all powwows. I've attended meetings with President Bordeaux and all kinds of things, even went to some funerals of past employees and stuff like that. It's a bigger role than just powwow princess.
Over the years, Sinte Gliska University remains committed to critical educational concepts and initiatives such as language preservation, educational ownership, economic growth, entrepreneurship, and tribal government reform. The leaders will continue to seek new avenues of funding for academic program implementation and for additional facility construction. Most importantly, they will continue to embrace the Lakota virtues and values set forth in their mission statement in order to provide Sinte Gliska University students with the direction and determination to gain personal and professional empowerment and to attain a greater level of overall tribal autonomy for the future.
Of course, obviously, cultural preservation. That the language, our spirituality, and all of our cultural activities were significant. That these existed, these were creator-given. And for us to strengthen what we had and always retain. Because unfortunately, our people were exposed to a system that come from Europe that was deliberately set up to kill the Indian in us. And in large part, that continues today. Until such time as we control and author our own educational system, we will always be victims and subject to a way of life that was not good for our people. 90% of our people continue in public schools today, largely devoid of curricula that has historical truth and has testing measures that should be culturally appropriate, but are not. The other mandate was to aggressively pursue business, entrepreneurship. We have 1 million acres of land here, and yet the newspapers this week said that we're second, a very close second, the most impoverished county in the United States. And we've had this ranking for many years now. But we are a smart people. We are a strong people. We are culturally rich. We have our language. We have our ceremonies. We have strong family ties. But we struggle with high unemployment, ranges in the 80s and 90s. And these all have really a negative effect on who we are. But educationally, we're trying to counter that and address that. And that's why our visionaries and our founders established this institution to counter those. And we've come a long way. We were the first tribal college in the country to be accredited at the baccalaureate and at the master's. And we have a doctoral program on our planning boards. And we have other degrees. And we've been promoting a national tribal university, complete with medical school, law school. Somewhere in this country, we started with the Black Hills, but we're willing to go, maybe even Haskell, and through virtual online delivery, tie in with treaty agreements with the Harvards, the Yales that have advanced degrees, and sit down and fine-tune some of these. Or one day, our people can maybe even sit in their own living room and through technology can avail themselves of an education. So that's kind of the in short, our destiny and our mandate as tribal institutions of higher learning. And we look around here now, we have a beautiful campus. We have a long way to go, but we've come a long way. And I'm just glad that I was given the opportunity to come here and have a small part of the overall development and journey of the educational life of the Sicangu Oyate. Tomorrow, I start my 40th year. Thank you.
I've lived here all my life. I know all the agencies here, whether it's tribal, state, or federal. They're all designed to feed that dependency. So they're not going to help you. And I told the students, don't wait for somebody to tell you to get ahead. That's your decision. This institution is here to give you tools that you need. But you're the one who's going to decide what you're going to do. I said, we've listened to these institutions too long. And that's why we've become so dependent, so much alcoholism, so much suicide, because we listen to these institutions telling us how to live, what to do. You have to take that in your hand. You make your own decision. A Lakota never waits to be told what to do. He's supposed to know. He's supposed to know what he's going to do. He's got a mind and a heart, and he's supposed to know what he's going to do. So work for that. And I told him, if you need cultural advice, I named some people. We have them here. If you want to know who you are, we'll teach you. I told my children, and every chance I get, I told the young people, master the English language and master the Western culture. Master them and use them to fortify and strengthen your own. You could do that.
Thank you for joining us this week on Hidden Heritage and our visit of Sinte Gliska Tribal University. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with our closing segment, Brule, live at RFD TV Theater in Branson, Missouri.